I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, August the 21st, brought to you in part by Zactran. Keep more of your hard-earned profits with Zactran, an antimicrobial that controls and treats BRD. Remember to observe your 35-day withdrawal period after treatment. For more information, go to Zactran.com or visit with your BI representative. Expanded limits on your CME live cattle futures. No, we haven't hit a limit daily move in the last several sessions. We haven't expanded them that way, but the daily limit moves are larger, so they've expanded those limits. And the CME has done quite a bit here of late to try to maybe stop so many speculators from playing in the market. Yes, we need speculators, but they're making it more expensive to trade those contracts. They've raised the margins on those. Now we've expanded the limits, but the limit expansion is more so that maybe we don't lock those contracts one way or the other. So we don't want anything to lock up. We want them to keep being able to trade. So they've raised those up, and it could be a good thing. I guess it depends on how you look at it, but I tell you what, if it's enough to take your head off. Now, it's a bigger move than we typically see on cash markets in an auction market, and they're very volatile anymore. But beginning October the 5th, your live cattle daily limit move is going to go from $3 a hundred to $4 a hundred. $4 a hundred, we rarely see that. Now, the last couple of weeks, we've seen some $3 moves, and it's been on the upside in your live cash cattle, and that's big. But now, $4 a hundred on a daily move on your live cattle futures. Feeder cattle are going to go from $4.50, which was already pretty big, to $5 a hundred now on a daily move, which is big. But then what really gets rough is if you indeed lock those up on a daily limit move, then you go to bigger expanded limits. On live cattle, it's going to go from, it used to be $4.50. You went from $3 a limit move daily to $4.50. Now it's going to go to $6. Wow, $6 on fat cattle. I mean, it wouldn't do that very long, because you'd either go to the moon or you'd go to nothing, because that is a huge limit move. Feeder cattle, used to the expanded limit, if you locked up or down, went to $6.75. Now it goes to $7.50. Wow. But we'll see what happens. That's going to happen pretty soon, guys. It's going to start October the 5th. But what else is going on? More cheese. So we had more people starting to see direct deposits of cheese checks on the CFAP, on the cattle payments there. It was the other 20%. You know, they paid the 80 in, and then they said they were going to pay that out and make sure they had enough money. And in fact, they only paid out about half the money that was appropriated. Well, they came back and gave that other 20%. And we have heard Sonny Perdue here recently say that they may expand those and do a second round of payments on there. And earlier this week, I made some comments about the CFAP payments, and some people took exception to them, and I had some comments on there, and never against anybody getting payments. I mean, if you're going to get pennies from heaven, you're going to take them, indeed, for sure. Just stating the facts that you know, the plant fire a little over a year ago hurt your market, especially feeder cattle markets, a lot worse than COVID in fact did. Yes, people got very scared. Yes, we saw your packing plant shut down. You know, it halted marketing there for a little bit on feeder cattle. It was hard for guys to get their fat cattle sold. But actually, your markets didn't go down that much. They may have hiccuped there for a couple of 3 weeks, but the market through most of the spring, and especially going into the summer, was just every bit as good, if not better, than what we had ever expected it to be, and what the market ever promised to be. And indeed, we got those payments. We were able to get the payments, so you got to take them. I mean, it was ripe for the taking. What was really bad about the COVID deal is how your packers were gouging. They had more than doubled the price of their cutout values and not paying any more for fat cattle. But, instead of penalizing the packers and then spreading that money out that way, they just took money out of general funds and did that. But, you're going to take money if somebody's going to send it to you. But you just, sometimes we wish that maybe they'd used that money for something that would help the industry long term instead of this deal. If we would have used those millions of dollars and helped some people that wanted to build big regional packing plants around the country, that would have been awesome. That's something you can do. That's kind of like whether you give a man a fish or teach him how to fish. That would have been a lot better deal. And then the same kind of analogy goes whenever you start taking these payments. It's kind of like those signs you see when you're going through Yellowstone Park that say, don't feed the bears. They're not saying don't feed the bears because they're afraid the bear will eat your arm off, which the bear might do it, or a buffalo might take a gal's pants off too. You never know if you get too close to them. But you don't feed the bears because the bears then don't know how to hunt. All they do is beg for more food from the humans. So that's just something we kind of got to look at. If you don't believe that don't feed the bears analogy, look at your row crop farmers. Your grain industry could not survive without government payments anymore. And that's kind of sad. But once it starts to be part of your farm plan, your government handout, then you've lost it, your regular supply and demand. But talking about your grains there, it looks like the storm rally from the corn is over. We saw some up days there late last week and early this week. We saw some more up days. We saw your negative basis kind of come back a little bit right around that area up in the Corn Belt. It was negative 60, 65. It went up into the 20 to 40 cent range there. So it did tighten up a little bit, but it appears that's over because late part of this week we just didn't see any more out of that. And even though President Trump was there and they declared it as a disaster, and it is really bad, we figure we've already figured that into the market there. And the heck of it is, except for that strip there where so much of that corn got knocked down, your crops in the Midwest look excellent. Actually the best I've ever seen in spots. I lived in northwest Missouri, and I realize that's not Iowa or eastern Nebraska, but it's close, and I've never seen the crops any better there. Going up into Iowa, besides a few places that I saw where they had storm damage, the crops are absolutely outstanding, and it was done with timely rains. Not too much, not too little, not much flooding there, and sometimes when it's a little bit dry at times, it actually makes the crops a little better, but they are outstanding. We're going to have a bumper crop. The biggest deal about the storm is that it wiped out a lot of on-farm storage, and that's probably what's going to affect things longer term, is the way that worked out, because a lot of those harvest stores up there and silos were just watered up like beer cans, and not the full ones. The full ones could pretty much take the storm, but the ones that just had a little bit in there, it watered those up and then ruined whatever crop was left in there. But let's talk about your markets on Thursday. August live cattle futures down 45 cents at 107.02. October down $1.05 at 109.77. Going out front from there on your live cattle, down 95 to up 10. So mostly lower there. August feeder cattle down 12 cents there on the spot market, 143.42. And now we're very, very close to what your index levels are at, because our cash feeders have been coming up so much, so it won't be much of a stretch to get those to come together here as your August feeder cattle contract matures. September down 17 cents at 145.82. Go down from there, down 45 cents to up $1.10. Up $1.10 was your farthest out traded month, all the way at May of 2021. Your fat cattle trade, your fat cattle have just kind of gotten higher and higher through this week, as they have for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So we just see your prices continue to gain ground. We've now gained $10 or more here in the last month, and that's great. We saw some more confirmed sales on Thursday. Iowa had confirmed sales about 9,000 head from 105 to 110. We haven't seen 110 for a long time, guys. And then 167 to 170 on a dress basis. We hadn't traded much dressed basis sales so far this week, and Nebraska hadn't traded a whole lot at all. They did trade several on Thursday and will likely trade some more on Friday, and they're finally getting the top side of that dress market up there where the Nebraska guys want to sell. But 13,800 head on Thursday confirmed sales in Nebraska. Just a few live sales, just heifers at 106, but quite a bit of dress trade from 168 all the way up to 174. Now it was largely 168 to 170, and your weighted average is going to be close to 170, but did have some more prices up to 174. Likely I heard some sales at 172 and 174 there, but there were some better deals, and mostly just to the regional packers. Not much trade in the Southern Plains. They're pretty much done for the week. 500 head in Kansas at 169. Texas about 800 head at 106. Box beef cutout values. It's amazing how your packers have so much control on their price, on their selling price. Boy, it just makes you envious of what they can do. They've been paying more for fat cattle, even though we're really running into a part of the year where, a part of the season where they should be backing off on the box beef. They just set those prices, and the outfits that are buying, even though we don't have a lot of food service, they've got to pay it if they want it. But choice cuts late on Thursday afternoon, 225.38 up 234. We were at just 201 less than a month ago, and they've cranked them all the way up to 225.38, and our packing plants are running full head of steam. Select 206.31. They were way down there below $2 there not very long ago, but that was up 66 cents. Your slaughter for this week, 470,000, 5,000 better than last week, and 4,000 better than the same week a year ago. We might finally eclipse a year ago here this week if we have a good Saturday and we don't end up adjusting it back down. But your actual slaughter data for the week ending August the 8th come in. Your average dress steer weight, 906 pounds. Woo! And that's 1 pound larger than a week ago, but only 28 pounds bigger than the same time a year ago. So we're starting to pull down from there. We were way up in the 30s here not long ago. So we might start weaning back off of that. Like I've been telling you guys, there's still some big cattle down here in Texas that they're needing to move. They really got rid of the worst ones, but as they were trying to get rid of those, the ones behind them were getting bigger, but not really many hippopotamuses or rhinoceroses to get rid of, but just generally a little bit heavier. But pretty darn current in the northern plains, and Kansas has been serving them. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday at 143.52. That was up 63 cents compared to the close of Wednesday. Look at some big sales. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock, Salina, Kansas, 3,300 head there. Feeder cattle $1 to $4 higher. Very, very good sale there. Look at these loads of steers that I pulled out of Salina there. And you remember just a month ago, it was a big deal to get 800-pound steers to bring 140. You remember that when we first started seeing the first sales of the green grass yearlings, even in your best grazing areas of the Flint Hills and the Osage. You know, 800 pounds at 140, that was pretty darn good. And then it started coming up really fast right there. And as the guys showed how much they wanted those best feeding cattle of the year, and it cranked it up to 145, and then we got up to 150. Well, now you look there in the sale at Salina on Thursday, they had a load of 915-pound steers, bring 144.10. And I'm not even sure they rang the bell on that. How about 92 head, 732-pound lighter weight, middleweight feeding cattle, and those are what the guys are really going after right now. Those 732-pound steers bring 156. Did they just have good sales in the northern plains and in the Midwest? No. How about I-40 livestock, Ozark, Arkansas? Look at these loads of feeder cattle that they had right there at Ozark, Arkansas. You can view and bid that sale on DV Auction there every week. But they had 7 loads of those steers are right in that sweet spot. These would be long-time weaned calves. They're 675 to 735 pound steers there at I-40 Livestock. Sell from 143.5 to 149. Pretty darn good ticket there. A couple loads of heifers in the same weight group from 134 to 138. How about a place on another side of the map? Wilcox Livestock Auction, Wilcox, Arizona. It is so dry in southeast Arizona, and you say, hey, it's Arizona, they're always dry. Yes, they're always dry, but it's exceptionally dry in spots there in southeast Arizona this time, and not everybody just goes down there to rope in the wintertime. There's people that live down there, the people that own ranches. Yeah, it takes a lot of acres to graze one, but they've still been doing it for eons there. But they've got cattle coming to town early because it's so darn dry. How about this string of steers right here? 96 head, 682 pound, unweaned, but had all their shots. 682. They likely weren't quite ready to sell them, but it's just so darn dry that they had to get rid of them. But 96 head, 682 pound, weaned shot steers, all black, 149.25. They say that the cows might be close behind because it is so dry. They're going to have a hard time hanging on to those in that part of the country. Best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday come out of Clarinda, Iowa. Clarinda Livestock Auction there. My old friends John Anderson, Frank Hepker there. The Deb and Jeff Thummel cattle there. 55 head, 868 pound steers. Bring 149.25. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.